Hello everybody, and today we'll be doing another video on 11. But before we get into that, I'd just like to say thanks for a few things. First of all, I'd like to thank somebody called Alrighty Dav. He also has a YouTube channel, but he made my intro. He's currently going under renovations, but I will put the link in the description so you can see his channel. Now, I'd also like to mention my thanking for the growth. We have ended up with a huge amount of growth recently, including with the last video, which at its highest got 132 views, I believe. For some reason, it dropped down to 72 views, but oh well. And we've hit the 20 subscribers mark, which is really good considering that I'm planning to get 50 by the 6th month, which and it's still only January, and we have 20 already, so we should be able to reach my milestone by the end of it. And I think now we can get into the main part of the video now. So in the first video we did some home streets, and it's actually the home streets are actually quite a bit different from the regular game, and surprisingly the home street, well, maybe not so surprisingly, but the home streets were implemented later than the main world. Now, one of the first places I ever remember playing was Groddle Meadow. Sorry if I have the name wrong. I am terrible at pronouncing the names of the places in And in Groddle Meadow, we have we have the main place is I can't speak this. Say this. Gedris Grange, and it is the main place. And the main reason is because it has a train station, which usually is quite good, but currently, as I said in the previous video, this game is not having everywhere working, so currently the trains don't work. We do have an alpha tool that if we're in an area that does have a train station, we can use like a fake train station to just teleport there. And and there's also billboards around here, so you can get a pen and also go to the another biome to get paper trees, to get paper and write them and put them on billboards. Now, as you can see unfortunately this is all I could get in the video, but I have another player in this screenshot, and they are giving me something, as you can see by the text at the bottom. Now, the problem with the video with with other players currently is that one, there isn't that many of them, and two, there is a couple of functions that don't currently work. Usually you can trade with them, give items to them, and then just do general stuff. There's only a couple of bugs. Like, one of them is a follow command, so like you click follow and you follow the person, and they even take you to different streets, which is quite good, but unfortunately that's currently not working. Like I said, there's a few bugs with this game currently, but anyway. So, I also did, if you can see in the side, there is a pig, but I talked about animals in the previous video, and because there's so much in this game, I'm not going to be repeating stuff that I've already said, or remember that I've said. Now, now you can see another place. This place is basically for getting permission for towers in your home street, and I think there's something else it's for, but I can't really remember, and it's not really that useful. I think you can use it for a quest, and that's it. Now, you can see a map of Google. Now, this is a map of Groddle Meadow. There's also a bigger map of the whole world, but I don't have this in this group of screenshots. I'll probably do a whole episode on the world itself, as it is quite an interesting place. Your character, or where you are as a character, is a star, and it actually is different depending on which street you are and where you are in the street. Now, there is a slight problem with the maps currently, is that there's a ability to set destination, and you'll get a GPS on how to get there that currently doesn't work either. Another useful feature of the map is if you get a certain level of teleportation, you can also teleport to certain places on the map, and of course there's a cooldown for that, so you don't just go teleporting everywhere, and it also uses some energy. So, here you can now see a bubble tree. You get like bubbles. Now, bubbles are used to make hard bubbles, blue bubbles, and tiny bubbles. The bubbles can also, as you can guess, be used for more complex recipes. I will probably do a video just explaining all the recipes and stuff in that. Now, on this next slide, we have imagination bubbles. Basically, I should have actually put in something about coins, but I can do that in another video. But basically, imagination bubbles are like coins, but they give you imagination, which is the purple stat in the top left corner of the screenshot, which you should be able to see. And they are used for quite a lot of things, so I think you might be interested in, and you get one every time you visit a street for the first time, and sometimes they will come back, so you do have to search around for them to find them, but it is worth it to do. Now, I think you might actually want to see the loading screen, because it actually shows certain things, like what the next area is going to look like, things like, and what the next area has, and it's actually one of the better load screens that I do know about, but they are quite useful. Now we have a shrine here. There are 11 different shrines and 11 different giants, each shrine dedicated to a giant, and there are multiple of these scattered around the world. Now what you can do with them is get them to, one, give them stuff, and then they'll give you an emblem. Get 11 emblems of the same giant, and you can make that into a idol, and you can use the idol to replenish some energy, some mood, and get a bit of imagination from it. It is also quite useful because if you place them on the ground and you keep on walking by them, occasionally you will get certain items from the giant. The giants are basically just the lore and deities around the game. I will do a separate video on them because they are quite complex and I don't fully understand them myself. But their looks are really quite interesting and unique to each of them. Now, on this next bit you can see, and you can also see a bean tree. Now, bean trees are used for planting other trees, which you get a bean, you get other items, and then you season the bean. After you season the bean, you use that seasoned bean and you plant it. Then you pet the tree a bit, and then you come back later and see if it's grown. And you can also use some beans for recipes as well. Now we also have a cherry tree, as well as a spice tree. Well, the spice tree is quite self-explanatory. You get spices from it, and then you can use the spices to make other spices to cook stuff. Cherry trees you can use you get the cherries, and then you use the cherries and you get them in a fruit machine, and you change the cherries into different types of fruits and stuff. One thing I will mention about the fruits and stuff is that they give you different quantities of fruits or beans or whatever you're getting from the trees with the different levels of skills. Also, once you max that out, what the trees say is different. Like they ask for more petting, more watering, and things like that. And that also happens with rocks and other entities. So. And one thing I will mention is that in places where you do have trees is, unlike the home street where you can have any types of trees, you have to be in certain biomes to plant certain trees. For example, the paper tree you can only find in the desert. You cannot find a paper tree in Groddle Meadow or Graduous Grange, but we'll see. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks again to Alrighty Dav for the intro, as well as thanks for all you guys for supporting me in this video and growing up the channel.